Welcome to my show, Anima Vestra, being held at the Art House Gallery in beautiful Covington, Louisiana, sponsored by the St. Tammany Art Association. Come on in, let's go have a look. This piece is called Sharanagati. That is a Sanskrit term, and it means the process of surrendering to something greater than yourself. So I like the concept of surrendering myself to something great. In this case, almost a wind-like epiphany. A lot of times, natural elements factor into my work, like wind, storms, fire. And in this piece, you can see that her eyes are closed, and as strong as that wind is, this model still looks as though it's a good experience. She's letting go and letting it flow around her. This is my piece called Sharanagati. A lot of cups of coffee went into these sketches. First thing in the morning, my mind is a blank slate. My subconscious has probably been working on all kinds of ideas. The doodles, the thumbnail sketches that I do in the morning, often suggest pieces that I consciously couldn't have come up with. So I really try to take advantage of the time in the morning before the day has begun, all of the intrusive things I'm going to have to do. These ideas come from somewhere deep, somewhere not as conscious as the rest of the day. And you can see that they're not complete, not important. The sketches up here are just the beginning. Some of them are very specific to pieces in this show. Like here we have one that I'll show you in a minute. Here's another one to the right of it. This is another one called The Coming Storm. I've written verbal notes to myself. I've written concepts, title ideas, all kinds of things. This is the beginning of my day. This is my process. Every artist is a little bit different. You might be different. I think the first things you do in the morning are very telling and can be very useful. This piece over here, this piece is called The Phoenix. Now, if you look closely at her, you can see where it looks perhaps as though the back of her head, the tops of her hands, the backs of her arms are beginning to spark and like sparks drift away. So the concept of phoenix, you know, the idea in mythology is the phoenix arose from the ashes. And I do kind of like this idea. So this would be one of the elements of nature that I like to use, that of fire. But the more important part of this is the ashes have to happen in order for the rebirth. So she is being somewhat complacent as the process begins because she knows that this is a necessary part of her process to grow. This was done in charcoal. These lines here, I actually took the matting off of palm trees on the trunk, held them down on the paper, and used that organic negative to lift off the charcoal because I really wanted this to look like an organic process, not just from my hand. So this piece is called The Phoenix, and she will become something better on the other side of this experience. This piece is called Eland Dance. What's going on here is that this old gentleman, a member of the San Bushman tribe living in the Kalahari, is doing this dance to emulate the motion of an eland. He's doing this as part of a trance dance. The Bushmen believe that as a result of many hours long trance dance, they can leave their body and thereby become the animal that they admire or identify with. So there is an eland in the back of this, and this old man, his name is Panama. He has since deceased, but he was the shaman of this group that we eventually became friends with. To thank my husband and I for teaching art to their children with a conservation theme, they staged a trance dance. And we were new to the concept back then, and this was so authentic and ancient, probably reaching back to the Paleolithic times, when the idea of identifying with the animals of the region was paramount to their existence. So Panama, this gentleman, and I couldn't pronounce his name properly because it's made with click sounds, decided to lead the dance as he would be the shaman. And eventually, the person who leads the dance, and they're dancing to the clapped cadence of the women of the tribe that are sitting in a ring around the fire. The leader of the men dancing around the fire with rattles on their legs will collapse and become unconscious with their eyes rolled back in their head. They will fish him out of the embers. They don't get burned somehow miraculously. And while he's gone, he is calling his animal. And they still believe this. The Bush Sanmen, the San Bushmen are the original tribe of Africa. They are acknowledged to be one of the very oldest cultures still living the way they do on the planet today. And we were so privileged to not only have this dance done for us, but to eventually become friends with this very small tribe of Bushmen. We still visit them every year in Africa. And this was a very special experience, and it actually prompted me to start this entire series of drawings that have to do with the animal nature, the anima vestra in each of us that we come with. So this one, you have a man, he's leaving his body, he's going to become the animal, and it's called the Elan trance, done in charcoal with erasure on heavy Fabriano paper. This piece is called valence. Now, valence is a term that you find in atomic energy, on periodic charts. It's a number, actually, given to particles that have extreme combining capacity. Combining capacity with something other than themselves. And I like the notion of this. It's usually expressed as one number over another number, like a numerator and a denominator, which kind of gave me the idea for the composition. So here you have a woman crouched. She's getting ready to spring away. Her reflection, her spirit is below the line. Here is her denominator. This is a leopard getting ready to spring also. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have it within us. We have our valence for whatever that is to each person. Can be different, doesn't have to be an animal necessarily. But in this case, I decided to use a leopard with her. She's in that crouched position, ready to go in her spirit form. And again, this was done in charcoal. This was done using a charcoal, lifting with my hands, a little bit of erasure. There's a little bit of leopard patterning coming off the top of here, almost like a fog. And the leopard is staring at her, but she's not looking at the leopard. She's looking off to where she's about to go. Valence. Now, in vain with our so-called primitive culture ideas, and I really hate to use the word primitive because really this is so old and it's still expressed in modern terms. The idea of our spirit animals still comes to us in the names of football teams, muscle cars, all kinds of things. We're not doing it as beautifully as these ancient cultures did, but it's still with us. It's on our money. You see an eagle clutching arrows. Eagles don't really clutch arrows. You see animal imagery from the time of the Egyptians all the way into modern times. Next time you go to an art museum, look for it. You'll be amazed at how many pieces have allegorical images using animals. Once again, we're back to the Kalahari. Now, this is a very, very old woman of the tribe. They do not have numbers. They don't know how old they are because they don't count, which I think is a grand idea, which I didn't either. But this lady is in a sleeping pose on the sand. We don't know how old she is. We don't know if she's even going to wake up from this particular dream. Her animal, her spirit animal, is a cheetah. So you see the cheetah, her cheetah, is standing over her, almost in a protective sense. And the cheetah is waiting for the moment of release, like, can I run now? So it's almost like she's leaving her body. I call it the last roar of the Kalahari, because this could be her last roar. I don't really know. We haven't been able to get back to the desert in Africa for a couple of years now due to COVID, and I hope that I get back there and I hope I can share this image with her. A lovely woman. All right, I'm going to move along to the next piece. Okay, this is a young woman of the San Bushmen. And the name I gave this piece, although it's not in their language, it is a term that is known across many tribes in Africa. It's a compliment if somebody gives it to you, and I was so complimented by some of these people, and so of course I love this term. But the term is mosibanda. Mosibanda means that you are a lioness. Like so many of us in modern cultures, they too see the strength of the female connectivity and a lion pride, the strength in numbers, the loyalty in female friendship. And that's what I'm talking about here. This woman, I've chosen the pose. She's looking straight at you. She's got her hand on her hip. The lioness is appearing over her shoulder with the same expression she has, which is to say, in my mind, you want a piece of me, I'm ready for anything, I can handle it. Mosibanda. This is a much more modern piece, although the idea is very ancient. This piece is called Baltic. My father was from Latvia, a Baltic nation. The model that is in this piece, her parents are from Estonia, another Baltic nation. Even in the Indo-European cultures, which have Sanskrit as a component of their language, I'll add, you have the concept of animal connection, you have the concept of taking your power from the animal. I've chosen another cat, in this case, a black leopard, over her shoulder. The pose is again, hand on hip, hand over the heart, and it's directly confrontational looking at you, the viewer. What I'm trying to say here is that this woman is strong, she knows her roots, she also is ready, even in the modern world, to do what she's got to do. Baltica. Okay, this is one of the pieces that I did using one of the elements of the natural world, which is to say wind. I've named this piece the Coming Storm. Here in Louisiana, when we hear coming storm, some of us shake in our boots because it could mean a hurricane. And what I'm trying to say here is that this storm is coming and it might be really big for her. But you see the expression on her face is that of welcome, that she welcomes the challenge, that she knows what to do, that she will be a part of the wind when it comes to her, and that like a tree, her branches will sway but not break, okay? And I think that's an important lesson for all of us at this time, all the things we're going through around the world and here in the United States. She is welcoming the wind. This piece is called The Coming Storm. Only begotten daughter. Don't mean to insult anybody. I know the phrase from the Bible is only begotten son. But the power of anima, just like animus, is present in all of us. The male and the female, the balance. The way that I chose to show this is you see a woman in fetal position, more or less. She is within the shape of an elephant. It's almost like she's going to be born of an elephant. Well, we know that wouldn't happen in the real world, but as a spirit animal, you couldn't do much better than to be born part elephant, in my thinking. Long-lived, love their family, take care of each other, knowledge handed over from one to the other. The elephant species has a lot going for it. It's kind of a shame we abuse them the way we do as a species. But here, she's waiting. The mother is waiting calmly and serenely. It's a big circular design. It's something that I often think would be a lovely change for me to come back as an elephant. So I do feel very close to this piece, Only Begotten Daughter. Thanks for joining me at my exhibit, Anima Vestra, at the Art House Gallery in beautiful Covington, Louisiana. This show is open from February 13th until March 27th. If you get a chance, come on in and have a look at it. And I want to thank all the people who worked so hard to make this exhibit as beautiful as it is.